Hey guys, it's your girl Ray Ray.
Alright, so one of us is native Chinese and one of us is American Chinese.
Yeah. Can you take a guess? I'll give you 3 seconds. Count to 3, 2, 1.
I am the American Chinese.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty obvious. Some people say that I look like American Chinese, but if you're new to this channel, my name's Rachel. You can call me Ray Ray.
Hi, my name is Sophie. I'm a senior. I was born in China actually, but I was raised in New York City for most of my life.
And we're gonna talk about, debunk some myths about American Chinese and native Chinese. A lot of girls in China especially, they want to be more confident. I feel like not only American Chinese, but American in general. They're like more confident
more secure in their bodies. I think it has to do a lot with America's culture of like your like individualism and like self-identity. It's very much like be yourself and like love your body, love who you are, and like embrace your differences that make you different and like unique. And I think that's just like how people are raised there. America is very much like there's more and more like plus size models and more plus size representation. And I think it's also the Chinese culture of your parents always like why are you so fat? Like
right, yeah.
And I feel like in China it's not taboo to talk about weight, whereas in the US it's really taboo to ask someone your weight.
Because you're both American and Chinese.
Right.
In your family, do you talk about weight or?
I think my parents do, but I think the definition of skinny in the US is very different than in China. Just subtle comments here and there about weight. That was such a common thing from like my relatives that I haven't seen in a while. They would ask about weight.
Oh really? What would they ask?
Don't you eat so much meat in America?
Because I feel like in my household, like my parents or anybody who is close to me would be like, oh, did you gain weight? Or like, you got skinnier. They would just point that out. Yeah, does it happen?
I would say it does. Every time I like FaceTime my parents, I was like, did you gain weight? Did you lose weight? Because it's like, the only thing they can see is my face. So it's like, that's the only thing they can point out that's like changed. But I think it comes from a more so like, are you eating well? Like, how are you doing? Like, how's your health?
They only meant it because they care about your health. Like if you're eating well,
I did all my school in New York, so with friends you never talk about that unless they're like, oh my god, I gained like 5 pounds. Then it's like you can talk about it, but then you would never go up to someone and be like, did you gain weight? Like when you don't have people pointing out your difference in your body to you, then it's like all the critique just really comes from yourself. And I feel like people don't really voice their self-critiques out loud in the US much so. It's very like kept to yourself. Maybe it seems like people are more confident because people will never like go on WeChat and post like, why am I so fat? Because I've seen that with like Chinese people here.
Yeah, even if Americans are way more confident, I still see a lot of insecurities.
It's definitely more self-love, I feel like, from the US point of view. And maybe that will stem into the self-confidence a lot more so than in China. Because I think in China, if you're very like, I love my body, but you're not stick skinny, people are like, why?
Yeah. Before people question you, you'll question yourself. Like, why? How dare me feeling good about myself when I'm fat? As a lot more people like me, like I'm in a global environment, there are more people who are embracing themselves. I know there's some body positivity movements on social media in the Western society, and it's coming to China, to Chinese social media, and I think that's a good thing. And I feel like I was so insecure because I studied totally in a Chinese environment. I took Gaokao, so most of my life was like all about academic. Even if I'm in an international university, I still had that kind of stories where I was insecure. I feel like I gained my confidence not only because I studied in a like more inclusive environment, but also what you see on the internet really matters. When I was insecure, I was looking at mostly like those Instagram models, right? But now, as I grow up, there's more people talking about body positivity and being confident and not caring about how people think. And I feel like the internet has more influence on me than like the physical world.
It's super important to never get lost down the rabbit hole of that, I feel like. And I try to limit how long I use Instagram per day because it definitely can get so toxic. But I think it's just important to realize like whenever I see pictures of them doing stuff, I'm like, I ask myself the question, like, are they truly happy? And like, are you truly happy? Like, I think don't compare your happiness to like their fake image of happiness, you know? Things are never as real as they appear. appear on social media. So I think it's just always important to keep that in mind.
I would say you're confident. And have you always been like this growing up?
I don't know. I always felt secure, which is like a good thing. I didn't realize. I felt loved by my family, right? So it's like if you feel loved by your close friend, then you also have self-love.
Yeah.
Then it's like you don't really focus on the negatives. And I think I'm just a more optimistic person in general. So like I never really focus on like annoying things that you can't change. There are some things that you can change, like your clothes, but some things, your facial features or your height, you can't change. So it's just like live with it, or else what, you're gonna be sad for the rest of your life. I don't know, maybe that's a very American mentality.
I think that's a good mentality though. One other thing that I want to talk about confidence is that I actually did my double eyelid surgery.
Oh, you did? Oh wow, I had no idea. I heard that's common in China.
Yeah, it's super common. And I got it done when I was in my sophomore year of high school.
I mean, that's young.
Yeah, I wasn't even 18. I thought after I done it, I could get more confident. It does give me a little bit more confidence, but it's not that big of a change. I feel like the big change starts when I accept myself internally.
I think the double eyelid is a very Western beauty standard. Standards will always change, so you can never keep up with it.
Yeah. Before I met some American people in person, I thought everybody in the States are like women in the States are like very independent. They're like the breadwinner or something like that. But after like I met a lot of people who are actually from the States, I feel like there's still a lot of people who are very traditional. And I didn't know about that before. I know people who can get married like right after they graduate college, or like they have kids, or like they don't have sex before marriage. I just want people to see like don't glorify what's happening in the States, because like there's
please don't.
there's some parts that we're alike, and both bad parts and good parts. In the past, I feel like I do glorify whatever it is happening in the States, or like I want to study abroad because like I like the freedom. But now as I get to know more people, I feel like people are the same. We're not that much of difference. Like within America, there are different kinds of people. The diversity of people is like much
also true
more in China.
Yeah, definitely. Like, because I went to like elementary, middle, high school with a very, very diverse set of people.
Yeah, I think that definitely adds to why Americans are more confident, not only confident, but also being in a diverse environment, it gives you respect for things that you don't know. After not only talking to Sophie just now, but also talking to a lot of other people, I feel like we're all people. No matter you're ABC or native Chinese, like, or other nationality or ethnicity, I always thought that these are different people and they cannot hang out or work together, but actually they can, because they're all people, and there are same principles of being a person. Like you have to be a person before you define yourself in those ethnicities and cultural backgrounds. And I think there are differences, but the core are the same. And I think I used to glorify American citizenship or Western citizenship, but I feel like now I'm interacting with more people who are not Chinese, but they're living in China, and I feel like I get more confidence as a Chinese, like having a Chinese nationality. And I wouldn't see people with other nationalities higher or lower than myself.
I think as long as you keep an open mind and you're very like aware and you're open to new things, and it's like you can always make friends with someone who's not similar as you, right?
All right, I guess that's all I have for you guys today, and I'll thank Highlight for not sponsoring this video. I'm just a big fan. I'm a great friend and I'm a big fan of Highlight. So they have sparkling tea. This one that I have is 正山小种. They have online stores and they also sell at a lot of venues in Shanghai. This is like 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 fat. So definitely try it out. I think that's the end of this video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.